Alright, everyone, buckle up because today we are diving into one of the most controversial, conspiracy laden, and downright mind boggling stories of our time, the origins of COVID-19. Yeah, we're talking lab leaks, intelligence cover up, Chinese government involvement, and oh boy, even a little Biden family drama. This isn't just a theory, it's a rabbit hole. Let's get into it. So here's the deal: a new investigation by the Wall Street Journal has dropped some major bombshells. Since I'm not subscribed to the WSJ, here's an article from Zero Hedge instead. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it turns out there's been a lot more going on behind closed door than we were ever told. Shocker, right? The report dives deep into how US intelligence officials handle or maybe mishandle the question of where COVID actually came from. But before we get into the juicy part of the steak, well, let us cook the steak. First, let's take a trip down memory lane in 2019 in Wuhan, China. Remember the memes about Corona just being a beer? Yeah, it turned out to be a whole different kind of party. By January 2020, the WHO was like, hey, this might be a big deal, and by March, bam, it's officially a global party that no one wanted to attend. So this little bugger spreads through the air when people cough, sneeze, or even just chatting. And guess what? It loves crowded places with bad airflow. Symptoms could be anything from a sneeze to feeling like you're in the middle of an apocalypse. Then, like in some superhero movies, we got variants: Alpha, Delta, Omicron, each one making us go, oh, come on. But seriously, each wave was like a new boss level in a video game we had to beat. Lockdowns. Can you believe that?
Can you believe that?
Suddenly, going out was cancelled, masks become fashion statements, and hand sanitizer was the new goal. Remember trying to buy toilet paper? Good times. The same time bidet sales go strong, finally people start spraying the ass with clean water. But then the science wizards came through with vaccines, mRNA, and viral vectors. It was like magic. We had this massive global effort to jab everyone. It was like the biggest game update ever. The economy back then took a nosedive. Tourism, debt, hospitality, ripped. We were all suddenly working from home in our pajamas trying to figure out Zoom. And unemployment skyrocketed. Fun times, right? All of a sudden, people from all ages are becoming an online content creator, grandma and grandpa streaming FPS and RPG games. It wasn't all just about money though. Mental health went through the roof with everyone stuck at home. And education, online classes, anyone? Let's just say it was an interesting time to be a student or a teacher. Oh, and as a parent, you're not planning on getting your kid a laptop or smartphone? Well, you were not lucky back then because your child's education needed them. Now that the steak has been cooked, let's get into the juicy part of it. Three scientists at the National Center for Medical Intelligence, a Pentagon agency, were hard at work on a study. And guess what they concluded? COVID-19 was likely manipulated in a lab. Yeah, not your typical it jump from a bat to a human story. Most people who dive into the conspiracy theory already know about this. But here's where it gets weird. Their findings didn't make it into the official report that went to President Biden in 2021. Someone, somewhere decided to keep that little tidbit out, and the question is, why? Who's making these calls, and what's the real story here? David Asher, a former State Department investigator, spilled some serious tea during an interview recently. According to him, this wasn't just a mistake or an oversight. He believes there was a deliberate effort to suppress the truth, an effort involving high-level officials in the US, the Chinese government, and even some of our own scientific institutions. On X, he posted, "This was why I told people that we at State via Deep State were partially to blame for the cover-up. It wasn't the team I advised certainly leading the investigation, not Secretary Pompeo, it was a certain senior official in charge of arms control and his minion including Keane. They were the ones who warned us repeatedly. We were, oh my god, it's so long." Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Asher says the US funneled taxpayer dollars into gain-of-function research in China. If you don't know what that is, it's basically supercharging viruses in a lab to study how they might evolve. Sounds like a bad sci-fi plot, right? But it's real, and he claims that this research contributed to the creation of COVID-19. But it doesn't stop there. Asher points out that political connections might have influenced the decision to stall investigations into COVID's origin. He specifically mentions the Biden family's tie to Chinese business entities. Now, is that definitive proof of a cover-up? Not necessarily, but it's enough to make you go, Alright, let's take a breather for a second. This is a lot, right? Lab leaks, taxpayer dollars, political drama. The story has everything except maybe a car chase. But it's important to remember that these claims, while compelling, aren't the final word. They're part of an ongoing investigation. Still, if even half of this is true, it's really a game changer. Speaking of investigations, Senator Rand Paul is leading the charge on Capitol Hill, pushing for more transparency. Meanwhile, the FBI has stuck to its guns, maintaining that a lab leak is the most likely explanation for COVID's origin. And get this, Asher says the FBI has a massive case file with over 200 names tied to the investigation. That's wild. Then there's the World Health Organization. And oh boy, Asher didn't mince words about them either. He straight up called the WHO worse than useless and said it failed the world during the biggest public health crisis of our time. Ouch. But honestly, is he wrong? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. On X, he posted President Trump absolutely should pull the plug on the WHO. It's worse than useless organization. It totally failed us in the biggest public health crisis modern world history. It's a disgrace and a disservice to civilization. The English language in that post is not Englishing at all. Jeez. In a series of posts, Asher doubled down on his claims, calling for accountability, not just for China, but for everyone involved in what he's calling a massive cover-up. He even hinted at criminal charges for certain US officials, though he doesn't think Dr. Fauci will ever face consequences. And fun fact, he's all in on the idea of Trump 2.0 administration to blow the lid off this whole thing. On X, he posted, "Thanks for listening. We all need to get ready to help President Trump make America truly great again by holding the Chi-coms accountable for mass murder and Fauci and scientific associates as accessories of the crime. I'm now triple deep black MAGA on COVID, fentanyl, and making China pay." Now, what he actually meant by "thanks for listening" is this video.
The Wall Street Journal piece today, I won't say it moved the ball forward in a huge way. You could speak better to this than I can. But it does tell us that the cover-up continued into Biden's administration as government officials were blocking even FBI scientists who said, hey, this came from that lab in Wuhan, from telling anybody in the White House. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, I think this ultimately derives from the president's reported relationship, which, you know, we can confirm based on public commercial business records, with Chinese government businesses that were controlled by the Chinese intelligence service. I mean, the stuff about Hunter and James Biden, his son and brother, being tied into CFTC, a company that was infamously associated with the Ministry of State Security in China, I think has a lot to do with it. And that needs to be investigated as well. I mean, there's no logical reason why Biden would not continue the COVID investigation that I started. He was briefed on it, and he buried it.
That sounds an awful lot like the World Health Organization and the way that it treated investigations into the origin of COVID. They acted as if there was no possibility that it came from that lab.
Look, at the end of the day, this isn't just about politics or pointing fingers. It's about accountability. Millions of lives were lost, economies were wrecked, and trust in institutions took a massive hit. Don't we deserve to know the truth? Whether it's a lab leak, a natural origin, or something in between, the American people and the whole world need answers. So what do you think? Is this a smoking gun, or is it just another layer to an already complicated story? And do you think we'll ever get the full truth about COVID's origin? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to be reading them all. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. Don't forget to subscribe. And thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.